Lyssa Phillips. I'm a realtor, a local realtor, and I'm also a registered nurse of 35 years, and I specialize in 55 plus moving. I've been doing this for about 6 years now, and I no longer practice nursing. I take care of my clients the way I used to take care of my patients. And most of you, get better and move on. So it's very rewarding, and I love what I do. So I put together this aging in place downsizing booklet, and then also I put together, this is my pamphlet of who I am as a person and exactly what I do. And I won't bore you with the details, you can read. And then also there's testimonials on the back about who I've helped and their interpretation of how I worked with them. So feel free to take a look at that. Okay, so downsizing, age, well, first of all, let's do I've done a Norfolk, Mass area market review. So this market review takes a look back from 1 year, yesterday, because I printed out yesterday, to today, of how the market is changing. We know that the market is crazy. I've never seen it. Ever since I've been a realtor, it's always been a seller's market. And last year was the seller's market on steroids. It was crazy. And we thought things would kind of calm down a little bit because of the interest rates and what's going on in the world, the news of the world, or the United States, but it really hasn't. It has gone down a little bit, but because there is no inventory, it's really kind of sped things up a little bit. So you're still seeing multiple offers. You're still seeing no home inspections, no mortgage contingencies. And it's crazy. I feel bad for the first-time home buyers these days because it's really hard to get by. And then also for you, if you're getting ready to downsize and sell your home, where am I going to go? That's the first question I hear. And it really depends. So we're going to kind of talk about that a little bit. And you have my contact information if you wanted to speak in more detail. Okay? Okay, so Norfolk, Mass, last year in 2022, at this time, there was 11 houses on the market. That's so low. This year, it's 17. It's a little bit higher. Average days on market, and that can be skewed by many different things. Last year was 55. This year is 68. That can be skewed by like new construction or houses that are very expensive. Usually the average sale price, anywhere between $500,000 and $800,000, things are flying off the market. So, and then if you go down to average sale price in 2022, in Norfolk was $714,265. This year, it went up to $771,780. So what's that? That's a good news for people that are just selling, right? And then, you know what? Let's go back up here. The approximately month's supply of inventory. Last year, 0.96 means that it was a little bit less than a month. So if no houses came on in 30 days, every inventory would run out in less than a month. This year, it's 1.73. If no inventory came on this time, it would be a month and 3/4 about. So it's still a seller's market. When it's anything less than 3 months is a seller's market, 3 months supply. 3 to 5 months is an even market. And above 5 months, that's a buyer's market. I've never seen that. My mother was a realtor. She saw it. Where houses would sit on the market for days and days, but those days are over. And then average all the way down, and anybody has any questions with this, please, go ahead.
This says that the average list price is 1.1, but the sale price is 1100. Is that true?
Well, I think, okay, where is that? Average list price.
On the top, it's average list price. 1.178 for 22. That's like the third line down.
Okay. Oh, yeah,
That has to be wrong, right?
I don't think so.
But the sale price would be,
That's the list price.
I know, it's 400,000. That's quite a difference.
It could be. But it's a variance of $242,000. And if you have a multi-million-dollar listing, sometimes, you know, they can go for lower. Again, that number can be skewed by one transaction also. Anybody else have any questions? And then so if you go down to the very bottom, average sale price as percent of original list price. So how are things selling? Are they selling over asking? Last year it was 104.2, so 104.2, 21% over asking, okay? This year it's 99.47. So you're getting close to asking when you put the listing price on. Okay, oh, yes. And then this next page is just a graph of everything that I've just talked about. Depends on how you learn. So I did two different ways. All right, so as a leader in customized real estate, I'm quick to point out that each person and couple and family are all different. Just like when I was practicing nursing, everybody was different with their diagnosis. You'd have to create a customized care plan for their path, their diagnosis, what's best for them. That's kind of what I do. I go in, I usually do what they call a two-part market analysis. I go into your home and take a look at it, take a look at what you want to have done, and then figure out what the next steps are, okay? And then usually my market analysis is in two parts because first of all, there's a lot of people think their homes are absolutely gorgeous, and they are, but some people are a little skewed with that. I met this one gentleman years ago when I first started, and he said, "You've got to see, my house is absolutely beautiful. You don't need to see it." And I said, "Well, I really should take a look at it." And I go walking in, and there's no kitchen. So, you know, you just never know what people's interpretation of their own house is, and I don't blame them. So, okay. So this is unfamiliar waters, especially if you've been in your house a long time. How many have been in their house for 5 years? 20 years? 10 years? 15? How long have you been in your current residence?
Almost 70 years.
Wow, so that's really difficult. A lot of people don't like change, and I get that. So how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. That's what you do when you're ready to move. You start doing the downsizing and the organizing and getting rid of things very easy. And we'll talk about that in a little bit of detail. But the next, we'll just go on with this, what this says. Should I move? If so, where? That's a big question. I think one of the things that you really need to look at is what does my future look like? Okay? What type of home matches your vision of retirement? What's your focus? Do you focus on family? Do you like to travel? Are you a social butterfly? Staying put or eating and entertaining? Any hobbies? Or if you're still working? So those are things just to put into play of, you know, where you're going to go. If you're a social butterfly, then you'll go someplace where it's a robust social life, right? If you like to just stay at home and read and knit or whatever it is, then maybe you don't need such a robust social life. So that's one thing to think about. The next one is, so I have, well, let me back up. I have a network of community connections that help with people moving for their individual styles. So we can figure out where you're going to go together, okay? Another thing that a lot of people don't have the conversation is with your family. You know, a lot of people have not really talked to the family about who's getting what, who wants what. That's a big thing. A lot of people think, well, my kids want all my stuff, so I'm not going to downsize. I'm not going to get rid of it. That's not true anymore. A lot of these young kids, including my kids, they don't want your stuff. So you got to get rid of it. And I can help you with that also. I just had a woman in Foxborough. She had to go into a memory impaired unit. She lived by herself. Both her daughters had passed away. She had one grandchild. And she was a collector of antiques. But she had so much stuff. And it actually cost her a lot of money to get rid of the stuff because she didn't plan ahead. We did have an estate sale and made $18,000 for her. But she still had so much stuff left that it cost us probably about $4,000 to kind of hire my guy who gets rid of stuff. And he's usually very affordable, but there was like 3 truckloads of stuff. So you got to think about that. So I start with, if you do have family members, start with a conversation with the family members. Do you want them to help you help participate in this, or do you want to keep things to yourself? And again, who wants what is really a good place to start. Okay. What are the tax implications? Now, I'm not a tax person at all. I don't like doing my taxes. But if you have capital gains, then, you know, if you have a financial advisor, I would definitely reach out to the financial advisor, depending on where you're going. If you're going to put your money into another house, well, that's one thing. But if you're going to be going to an independent living or some other facility or whatever, that's another thing. So speak with your individual financial advisor. And if you don't have one, I have one. What effects might a sale have on your future income? Again, I would defer to your tax or estate planning person. There's a lot of really good ones out there. I don't have just one name. I've got a couple of names that I can give you if you have any questions for that. I'm not in that field. I try to stay in my own lane, but I do have the trusted individuals that can help out. What are the legal considerations? And also I want to add, what are the considerations about like what you have for life or estate or not life insurance, but if you have any long-term care stuff. If you have, there's a woman that I met puts together booklets. I think she's coming to talk at Norfolk COA. She puts together little booklets about everything that you have with your computer passwords and all your. No, not DePietro. No, it's another woman that puts together a nice book binder of everything that whoever needs to know about your passes to your online services and stuff like that. So, and though that really is an important part to get together for your loved ones, so that they're not putting pieces together after you're gone. So, and then the legal considerations again: elder law attorney, power of attorney. In the healthcare field, we were always a big advocate of healthcare proxy. Get your papers together. And if you need some help with that, I'm happy to help you. We've got lots of people that are on board. Is moving the best option? Sometimes people are like, you know what, I want to give it one more try at home. And I was a visiting nurse for many of my years of practicing. And what people don't really know is that, if you have a change in your medical issues or medications and you're homebound, you actually qualify for VNA care. Medicare or your health insurance will most likely cover it. Or if you have a change in your functional status, you qualify for physical therapy. If you are looking for safety, you can qualify for physical therapy or occupational therapy to give you suggestions of things to make your home safer. So, and then also nobody likes using Lifeline, I've seen, but there's also, Alexa. You can program Alexa to call 911. So, there's a lot of different options out there. Because I'm an advocate of people staying in home as long as they can, until they can't. So, and I've seen people stay in the home well if they have everything set up, and then I've seen the house kind of their prison. So I've seen a lot of it. So this, should I move? If so, where is just a typo? I'm blaming it on my my person who works in the office. She double copied it. So if we move on to the top 10 right-sizing tips, does anybody have any questions as of yet? Okay. All right. So as I said before, this is very hard. So you're going to start with the easy stuff. Anything that's broken or damaged or no longer wanted, just let it go. Get it out of the way. If it's broken or damaged, of course, you're going to have to throw it out. If you just want to get it out of the way, there's the vet services that comes and picks up stuff. What do we got local here? I have Savers in Norwood. What do we have here local, Kathy?
There's a place in Millis, I think you can drop things off.
Yeah, I can source out local. And there's also, if you have a lot of furniture in Walpole, there's a place where you can donate furniture to home, for people that are starting out with no money. So there's a lot of different options that we can look into. Ask yourself, if this disappeared tomorrow, would I run out and replace it? If that's a no, probably should get rid of it. Don't be a storage, this is a good one, don't be a storage unit for others. Like, how many of you are being a storage unit for your kids or grandkids? I'm my kids, like, I'm being a storage unit, but I'm putting my foot down. Ask for help. Although you can do much of this on your own, ask a family member. I have an older woman in Dedham. She's been trying to make the move for over a year now. She finally called me. Again, I do not call her all the time. I give people their space because you need time to think about things. She finally called me after a year. She says, I'm ready, Lyssa, but I need help. And she said, I need somebody to help me organize. And she's meeting with my downsizer organizer every week until she's ready to move on. So that was a big move for her. Decide what's really important. Pretend you're moving overseas and the number of items you can take can be severely limited, and it'll cost a small fortune to ship things. What items belong on your list? Okay, another thing is if you are downsizing, let's say you're going into independent living and you're living in a 3,000 square foot home and it's full, right? And you're downsizing to a 1,000 square foot home, pick out, if you could get a floor plan of where you're going, and then pick out the items that are must-haves and, put a sticky on it. So, had to do that for another woman in Dedham, and she was borderline hoarder, and oh boy, it was a feat to get her moved, but we did it. Is this something from a lifestyle I no longer have or want? Do you still ski? I don't. So get rid of the skis. Schedule a regular time each week or several days to work on the right sizing. I am starting to downsize now in my home, and I'm spending about maybe 15 to 20 minutes, maybe a half an hour a week. And I feel like if you stay in one spot and don't veer, and I know probably most people do this, you're over here and then you look over there and you see the old bag or whatever it is, I got to take care of that. Stay in your spot, just your perimeter, and don't move from it until it's all done. I started in my attic last year. Now, okay, I cleared it all out. I did get rid of a lot of stuff, but now most of that stuff is down the cellar. How do you deal with a husband that you think wants to keep everything? I would give him the choices, make him feel like he's involved, and well, then I don't want to cause a rift between you and your husband. That's very common. You have to deal with the reality of it, and if you can somehow make him see, you know what, we don't really need a...
We could have more appliances that are accessible if we got rid of some great stuff that's actually, maybe casserole dishes we haven't used in 20 years.
Does he cook? He does, okay. That's a tough one. You just got to work on him and tell him.
Wear them down.
I did, my husband's the same way. I had double photos of everything. I threw out the duplicates. I didn't even get rid of originals. And he went through the trash and put the photos back. And so I'm like, oh gosh. So I don't tell him, but I can't tell you to not tell him. Let's see. Value what you keep. The fewer things you keep, the more you will treasure and enjoy what you have, instead of tucking them away in a closet. So for me, and I know a lot of people who I've helped downsize, for some people it's very nerve-wracking because some people need their stuff. But for others, once you are downsized, it's like, whew, it's a relief, I don't have to worry about that stuff. And honestly, if you don't need it, why do you keep it, And prevent new collections from forming. That's another thing. The other one that I sold a house for, that she was borderline hoarding. She said she was going to pack everything up, and I said, all right, I'll come back in 2 weeks. And I get there, and she bought more stuff. And I looked at her, I said, you have to promise me you will not buy anything else. You kind of just need that promise, because it's hard for some people. Use age as your advantage. Now is a great time to gift items eventually that you want family members to have. Just take a photo of them holding the special item and create a digital scrapbook for yourself. Okay? That's I think is a really great idea. So any questions? Go ahead.
Do you ever help people with the websites to sell stuff like Poshmark and things like that?
I have not, because a lot of my clients don't even have a computer. But yes, I can help with that. Have you done research?
I don't know anything about it, but I think I have stuff that would sell.
Yeah. What do you?
I worked, and I have a whole wardrobe that I don't need anymore.
Okay. Yes, we can look, you can start looking on Poshmark to see what things are of value.
And I think that, postage gets all involved, because you send us stuff.
Right.
That's how it works.
Yeah, so it sounds like a great idea, but if you have a lot of stuff, you're gonna get tired of it quickly. But again, if in savers and vets and any type of donation is all, it's a write-off, You have to keep track of what you donated. I do have a list of what the value of things when you donate. Clothes are not as expensive as you think. They're still considered used, so it really depends. Yeah.
What do you think about yard sales for getting rid of things?
I think they're great. I think a lot of people don't want to do yard sales, especially if you live by yourself. A lot of people are kind of leery on that. I just went to a yard sale in Walpole, and the mother died 2 weeks ago, and he's selling the house already. Getting the yard sale and selling the house already. I went there to buy some furniture, but it's different for everybody. And he had a bunch of people with him to help him. So, yeah.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work if you're going to sell your things online. You've got to package everything, take it
Right.
and sell it. So.
Right. And they do have people that will do that also. So I've got a downsizer mover, but they have people, what's it called? Where they box items up and they put them in certain categories, and you have to take the whole box or the whole set and so that's a really good idea.
What about these places that advertise you bring your silver and we'll take it? Are those good things?
If it's real silver, if it's, plated silver, then no.
I have non-silver and, it breaks my heart to do it, but I'm going to do it.
Silver is still a precious metal. So, but it's the old silver plateds, nobody wants them. So, and I do have some people that deal with antiques. The estate woman that I used for the woman in Foxborough, she knows her stuff. So we can get a good idea of what's worth what.
Now, what do we do with papers since Eversource went up on there? I was shredding and shredding and shredding until I got my bill.
Okay.
I'm tired.
So the papers, the senior centers have the shredding days, local banks. Yep, once a year.
Usually once a year, probably in the fall, but we've got to get the senior center back
I've
first.
done it now.
Right. And then also I know that there are local banks that will have a shredding day. And would just,
I think they do.
I do, but you got to pay for it.
Yeah, if you feel secure, then it's really good.
Yep.
That's
So I was actually thinking of doing a shredding day one of these days, but I've been so busy, but yeah.
a big shredder.
No, I'd hire a company. No, no, I have a little shredder. So any other questions? Okay, great. Well, thank you very much. And Lyssa Phillips, Suburban Lifestyle, feel free to get a hold of me if you have any questions. Thank you.